This happened to me during Halloween when my friends and I were still in elementary school. We didn't have a lot of money for costumes, but still wanted to join in on the fun. So all five of us decided to go as ghosts for Halloween. You know the kind. The ones where the costume was basically just a white bedsheet draped over the person's head, with some eye holes cut out and covered by transparent black cloth. The people we trick-or-treated from didn't seem to mind either. Some of them even complimented us for all agreeing to go as the same thing. By the end of the night, we each had a bucket full of candy, and were looking for a place to sit down and eat them. In keeping with the spirit of the season, we decided to hang out at the local graveyard for a bit, as we counted our spoils. We gathered at the center of the cemetery near a giant angel statue that towered over all the crypts and tombstones around us. According to the plaque, it was supposed to depict the guardian angel of the graveyard, meant to help guide the souls there to heaven. After about an hour or so snacking on countless mini chocolate bars and the occasional bag of gummy worms, our sugar rush had hit its peak, and we decided to play a game to burn off some of our excess energy. It came down to a vote whether we should play tag or hide and seek, with me as the deciding vote. I didn't feel like running around a cemetery for fear of accidentally damaging anything, so I voted for hide and seek. To decide on who would be the seeker, we drew lots in the form of sticks of licorice. I bit a chunk out of one of the licorice sticks and we each drew one. After everyone drew a licorice stick from my hand, I was left with the shortened one and became the seeker. I covered my eyes against the angel statue and counted to 100 as my friends giggled and scattered around the cemetery behind me, still wearing their simple bedsheet costumes so that no one could tell who they were if they were caught fooling around in the cemetery. When I finished, I set out into the cemetery to find them all. I found the first one laughably easy. He was crouched behind a particularly big tombstone eating a candy not far away from the guardian angel statue where we started from. I asked if he wanted to help me find the others or not, but he said that he'll just be waiting at the angel statue sleeping off his early sugar crash. The second one I found almost by complete accident. He had somehow managed to climb up an old half-dead tree to hide in its branches while still wearing his ghost costume. I might have completely missed him if the tree had a few more leaves left on its withered branches. When I called him out from beneath the tree, he leapt down from the branches. The white sheet of his cheap ghost costume billowed in the air as he fell. I nearly had a heart attack worrying that he might hurt himself or me by falling on top of me, but he landed on both feet and excitedly told me that he'd help me look for whoever's still hiding. We scoured the area of the cemetery furthest away from the guardian angel statue, looking behind every gravestone for our hiding friends. Finally, my friend pointed out that the door to one of the old stone mausoleums was slightly open. The two of us ran to the mausoleum, or at least walked as quickly as we could with our costume impeding our movements. It was one of the smaller mausoleums there, being smaller than the size of our classroom at school, but it was located in the oldest area of the cemetery, so it must have been a century old at the very least. Its immense age showed in the ivy growing from the cracks in its walls that generations of groundskeepers had decided to ignore, and the fact that a schoolchild was able to bust open its rusty door lock. When I pushed on the door, it flew open with surprising ease. Our nostrils were assaulted by the dank, musty scent of the moss and grime that had gathered in the mausoleum over the decades. I silently gagged under the bedsheet that made up my costume. If someone really was hiding in there, they either had no sense of smell or had a will made of iron to win the game. We took a moment to let our eyes adjust to the utter darkness of the mausoleum. My friend's vision was the first to adapt to dim light, and he immediately pointed out the two bedsheet ghosts huddled in the corner of the small stone room. I called for them to come out because we found them. One of the bedsheet ghosts let out a playful chuckle and ran out of the mausoleum right away. The other one slowly sauntered out towards us. With them fully illuminated in the moonlight, the three of us immediately noticed how filthy their costume had gotten. The once presumably white sheet had taken on a dull gray hue from the dust that had been seeped into the seams of the fabric. Blackish grime covered the face area, making it difficult to tell where the eye holes were. Whoever they were clearly not having a good time. We just assumed that they had gotten that way because of the dirty mausoleum, and the four of us walked together back to the angel statue. The kid in the dirty bedsheet costume trailed behind us, which thankfully kept the musty smell they'd picked up from the grime now covering their costume a good distance away from the rest of us. They never said a word the entire way back to the angel statue, as the rest of us laughed and joked with each other. None of us thought much of it at the time. I probably wouldn't have been in a talkative mood either if my costume got ruined like that. I was just glad that the person they were hiding in the mausoleum with them didn't get dirty and smelly as well. When we finally got back to the guardian angel statue at the center of the cemetery, all four of us froze in our tracks. Sitting underneath the guardian angel was the guy I found first, and another one of our friends. Both of them were out of their costumes, which lay on their sides. I would later find out that the first guy I found came across the other guy hiding behind a gravestone on his way back to the statue. That made 6 of us in total, one more than we came to the cemetery with. All of our eyes turned to the kid in the dirty costume that looked like it had been collecting dust for decades or centuries. One by one, we took off our bedsheet costumes, revealing friends we knew underneath, until only the stranger in the dirty costume remained. We backed away from him, eyes wide in fear, until we felt the stone base of the angel statue pressing against our backs. The top of the dirty white sheet raised slightly, as if the person under it was looking up at the guardian angel statue behind us. Before the thought of running could even cross our minds, the dirty sheet fell and crumpled onto the floor, as if whatever was holding it up had just disappeared. It took mustering all our collective courage to examine the dirty crumpled white sheet lying on the grass. I took a long stick and used it to flip over the sheet. Our blood all ran cold at what we saw. There was nothing underneath the sheet, but staining the fabric of its interior side, hidden by the muck and grime of its outer side, was the image of a screaming human face imprinted in dried, decades-old blood.